Hi, my name is the Ad Guy. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be reacting to Subaru ads. I know it's so random, but I decided to start off this reaction video with Subaru because I own a Subaru Outback. Well, I used to own a Subaru Outback. And I know I was hesitant to say that because you wouldn't think that I own a Subaru Outback, but I did. It was the first car that I bought when I was in college, and I decided to go with the Outback because it had all-wheel drive, and I lived in the mountain, so that was a requirement for me. I had it for about 2 years, and then there were some issues. It was a used Subaru Outback. Another coincidence that I learned, well, not another coincidence, another reason why I'm reacting to the Outback is because it was manufactured or launched the same year I was born. And so it's kind of a coinkydink that I would start it off. I want to see if the ads over the years have changed drastically, if the messaging is still the same. I want to know the type of branding that Subaru, I just want to know if Subaru's continuing to brand its cars the same way, even if it was 26 years ago. I heard that the Outback sold its 2 millionth car in 2011, or was it in 2018? One of those. 2 billion Outbacks out here doing their own thing. It's pretty cool to see that that product in their line is still going strong after all these years. So we're gonna check out some videos and ads that I saw on YouTube and react to them, see if the messaging is still the same, and see whether or not the content has drastically changed over the years. So we're gonna start off with their 1996 ad. It's Crocodile Dundee inspired type of ad. Let's see what happens.
These guys are persistent.
Well, they're no match for the world's first sport utility wagon.
Oh, really?
All-wheel drive Subaru Outback's got more headroom.
They're in the desert.
Uh-huh.
Ground clearance of an Explorer.
So you say.
Ride smooth as any car.
Got any more of this tidbits?
What, like more stability in a turn than a Chevy Blazer?
Handling.
That'll do.
That's why Subaru Outback. World's first sport utility wagon.
World Sports First Utility Wagon. I do consider Subaru a wagon, as a big tail. They were in the desert. It seems like they were being chased and they were making all these turns. And so I think the ad was to really depict the handling of the car. They were comparing it to other cars, maybe competitors. I heard about Ford and other competitors. Did they mention all-wheel drive? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they did. But Crocodile Dundee, they went with the Australian theme. And let's see if that is going to be connected throughout all of the commercials that I see today. I believe that was the first ad or national ad for Subaru Outback. All right. Now we're going to do a 1997 commercial for Subaru Outback.
You have failed me. Was it our fault? had a Subaru Outback.
Outback?
That's better gas mileage than our Cherokee.
Held a turn tighter than our Blazer.
Brake better than our Explorer.
Silence, fools. Just tell me what you need to catch him.
Our own Outback would be nice.
With a CD player and leather.
CD player.
Subaru Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon.
What? You know, ads back in the day were very colorful. They had stories, and it seems like there were henchmen involved, like a villain trying to capture the crocodile guy. And they said, how did he get away? And then they started describing the Outback. It's creative. They compared cars again. It seems like that was the unique selling position, that it was better at handling than specific car brands, and something about clearance. It was an okay commercial. All right, we're going to the My bad. We're going to the 1998. So we've done 1996, 1997, and now we're going to do 1998. Here we go.
Mud holes, dirt roads. Most people wouldn't think of driving through stuff like that. But then that's the beauty of Subaru all-wheel drive. It automatically transfers power from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip, which means it does the thinking for you.
I know that guy. He's in like that Office movie.
Sorry, mate. Guess I wasn't thinking.
I guess I wasn't thinking. That was pretty good. They really decided to talk more about the all-wheel drive feature that the car has. I know it's famous now for Subaru cars to have all-wheel drive. So it's really cool. I knew, and they added an actor. I think they're both actors, but the actors from a movie. It's still taking part in the desert. Like, this is an off-roading type of car. I bought my car for the mountains, so it's kind of cool to see it in the natural state of the world. That was a decent commercial. All right, we are going to do.
These days, seems like everybody's got a
My bad. We're gonna do another 1998 commercial. See how that goes.
These days, seems like everybody's got a Cherokee or an Explorer. Me, I like to stand out a bit.
Comparison.
That's why I drive a Subaru Outback.
Off-road.
With cargo bay and all-wheel drive, you can
Cargo.
have what utility you need. And with the smooth ride and better gas mileage,
Gas
the
mileage.
Outback is far from ordinary. Like me, really.
The beauty of all-wheel drive.
That was.
The tagline was the beauty of all-wheel drive. That wasn't bad. It showed the Outback in city traffic and also going on to off-roading type of landscape. So it's saying that it is diverse in its driving and handling skills. It continues to compare cars to each other. I guess Outback is in the same category of a lot of SUVs. That's what it seemed. And you have Paul Hogan. He seems like the spokesperson or the brand ambassador for the Outback. He reminds me of the Indiana Jones character. What's his name? Harrison Ford. I don't really watch that many Indiana Jones movie, but I'm really getting that vibe of people chasing him and him trying to get away from people, and he has that hat, I don't know if that was what they were going for, but that's the vibe I get. Does it make me want to buy a Subaru Outback? A little bit. it feels like there's adventure to the car so far. The 90s were about adventure, off-roading, being able to be unique in a way, and you were like the protagonist, like an Indiana Jones person. It's kind of cool. I get that vibe. It's really pushing for that masculinity. Not even masculinity, more of the male demographic as of right now. Not even male demographic, just people who like adventures and like that rugged type of vibe. Let's see what the 2000s hold.
Want more from a sport utility? Test drive the all-wheel drive Subaru Outback.
Oh, there's a kayak.
More ground clearance than a Ford Explorer Sport.
Ground clearance.
More
Oh,
cargo space than a Jeep Cherokee.
they're still comparing.
More miles per gallon than any leading midsize SUV. Add a smooth
Midsize
car-like
SUV.
ride and you have a sport utility with a whole lot more. Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon. Get financing as low as 2.9% APR on all 2001 models.
Not bad. They didn't have the brand ambassador, what's his name, Paul Hogan? I think that's his name. They had a narrator and just an Outback driving through the wilderness. I didn't see the Outback on any type of city road, but they talked about ground clearance. You know, they still are talking about all-wheel drive handling. They're still talking about these features that they've done for about, at this point, 7 years. That's 6 years. It's really cool. This ad was made in 2001, or it was launched in 2001. And so from 96, they're still talking about the same features that the Outback has. The design didn't really change. I think the messaging has been good so far. Let's see what 2005 brings to the table, though.
It accelerates faster than a Porsche Boxster.
Still comparing herself. Oh, now it's a foreign cars.
Has more ground clearance than a BMW X5. And costs $12,000 less than an Audi Allroad. It is the all-new 250 horsepower all-wheel drive Subaru Outback. Somewhere in Germany, an engineer weeps.
Visit your Subaru dealer for 2.9% APR for 63 months on every 2005 Subaru.
2005 Subaru. Somewhere in Germany, an engineer weeps. That's funny. And really bold. They were comparing the Outback to these sport cars, these foreign sport cars, like the BMW and the Audi. And the Porsche. Oh, I never thought about that. That's a big leap from the Ford Explorer. Oh, man. I don't know. I never really compared the two at all. So it's really, it's funny. A bit of a stretch, I would say. I don't know if they're in the same category at all. I don't think a Porsche would be ever off-roading a Boxster Porsche. I don't think that's what it is. You know, I thought that Outback would continue to go for cars with all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, that type of nature, but they've switched it up. It was a good commercial. I like the aesthetic of it. They still continue to be outside. 2000s. Okay. We're going to now what is this? This is, oh, we're going to 2009. We're going to 2009.
My sunglasses.
I've seen this ad before.
People say I'm forgetful. Maybe that's why we go to so many memorable places.
Love the road you're on. The Subaru Outback. Motor Trend's 2010 Sport Utility of the Year.
Love the road you're on. Okay, the tagline has changed. It used to be the beauty of all-wheel drive. Now is love the road you're on. Interesting. I've seen this commercial before when it was airing on television. I think that it's cute. They started including like a family instead of just the adventurous Indiana Jones type character. They still do emphasize off-roading and visiting all these different places. It was a cute commercial. The guy lost his glasses somewhere on their adventure, and he really wanted those glasses. And so they went back to all the places that they visited, and he ended up finding them in a cave, and it was a cute moment. They didn't really talk about any of the features. They kind of just emphasized how you would love to be driving, I guess, and getting all these memories on your road trips. They're starting to think of the car as a road trip car. All right, so now we're going to go to this honeymoon commercial. All right, I know there's a lot of ads, but Subaru Outback is constantly putting itself out there. I mean, they've been around for 20 years, and they're trying to compete with these, Fords who's been here for hundreds of years. So it's interesting to see how they've evolved. They're no longer focusing on that Australian-themed type of messaging. All right, let's go to this next one. More music.
Kingdoms and queens, they all bow down here. Branches and branch hands bowing too. And I'm taking on.
They're like in the wilderness. That car is super dirty.
Here comes the sun again. And the leaves on the trees, they all call out your name. Chrome on the frame line shines the same, and the stars in their
We could have gone a more traditional route, but it wouldn't have been nearly as memorable.
Here comes the sun again.
Okay. All right. That's all they said in the commercial. We could have gone a traditional route, but it wouldn't be memorable. That car was extremely dirty. I don't know anyone who would just leave that car and not try to wash it. They're definitely pushing onto this free, eccentric vibe. They're leaning towards the uniqueness. The 90s touched on the uniqueness a little bit, but now these people are definitely not traditional. It seems like they just came from their honeymoon. They're going on their honeymoon, and it's in a tent in the middle of the woods or middle of a place. They didn't really talk about the car at all, but it just seems like the car has been through some stuff. Maybe the idea is that the car is capable of taking all that dirt and grit of everyday life especially if you like to go and travel and explore the world. I guess they didn't talk about any of the features. It was adorable. I don't know if it would that was more of a branding type of Subaru. They did emphasize love. I've seen that now the messaging is about love. It's not really about the car anymore. It's about Subaru, the brand, and what it means, and about family and companionship. That's what I've gotten from the last 2000 commercials. It was okay. I don't know if I want a car for love. Maybe to love the car. Maybe. All right. We're going to the 2020 commercials now. Let's see if that has changed. This ad came out in 2020.
We got a Subaru to give him some adventure.
Adventure! Trigger! Oh, that car's dirty too! Ooh.
To reconnect.
My bad.
And be together. And once we did that, we realized
family.
his greatest adventure is just beginning.
For many Subaru owners, adventure starts in our national parks. That's why Subaru is the National Park Foundation's largest corporate supporter, to protect the adventure that brings us together for generations to come. Welcome to the most adventurous Outback ever.
Adventurous!
The all-new 2020 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Go where love takes you. Oh my gosh. First of all, yes, we got some chocolate people on the ad. I'm a chocolate guy. I got an Outback. There's chocolate people who have Outbacks. I love that they emphasized that. I heard adventure, I heard love, and I heard companionship. It is different. Go where love takes you. That's the tagline in this one. Versus the beauty of all-wheel drive. There was something else. That's the 2020 slogan, guys. That's where they're going to now. The messaging has changed. The idea, though, that the car is able to take you off-roading to these places. As you see, we saw a Grand Canyon type of feel, just like the desert in the first commercial. So the messaging and the imagery of what the Subaru Outback is capable of going is through those rugged off-road areas. They're trying to include families now it's more about road tripping with the family instead of just by yourself. They're talking about love and being adventurous still. Not bad, not bad. All right, so now we're going to go to the last ad of 2020. Well, I think this came out in 2019. A little off. This ad is supposed to be about the all-new 2020 Subaru Outback. And it's 30 seconds long, and it's supposed to be very good.
To become the GOAT, the all-new 2020 Subaru Outback must beat the GOAT.
Hey, the mountains!
Down the mountain. Symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive with X mode versus cruise. Ground clearance versus hopping. But the true test was the 14-foot canoe, where the GOAT tapped out. The all-new 2020 Subaru Outback. The greatest Outback of all time.
Nice. Nice, 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 nice. That, my friends, is how you create a commercial nowadays. Yeah, Subaru. Yeah, Subaru Outback. That last one was actually pretty good. The greatest of all time, and they included a goat, and they were in the mountains. It's so funny because I got my Subaru in college because I was living in the mountains, and they talked about the clearance level. They talked about all of the features, and they did not compare it to anyone else. They focused on themselves. 26 years later, they're focusing on themselves, baby. Yes, good for you, Subaru. They didn't talk about love. They pretty much focused on the product itself, not really the branding of Subaru. I would say that the greatest of all time GOAT commercial is probably my favorite out of the bunch. It's the most recent, and I think it hits all of the parts that it needed it to be. It's funny. I take that back. They did compare themselves to a GOAT, but not other competitors in their category. So what do you all think? Do you all like a Subaru wagon? Outback wagon? It's kind of changing. The design has changed a lot throughout the years, but the idea of it being an off-roading type of car hasn't changed much. They still continue to push that narrative, and it's helped them continue to grow in their space. You know, a lot of product lines fall off after some time, but this has made it, it has been consistent with the off-roading adventure type of person. They've now included family to the mix. They are more focused on love and we instead of I. It went from like this Indiana Jones type feel to now family type feel. And they're not really pushing on like the Australians, not stereotype, but like gimmicky thing anymore. They're focused on the car. I think Subaru has grown a lot. I don't think their ads were bad. I didn't see any bad ads, to be honest. I really like how they started including diversity in the mix as well. I have a Subaru Outback. Well, I had a Subaru Outback, and it's really cool to see them hit on points on why I bought my Subaru Outback. I think it's really fun to create a brand and kind of stick to it. You know, one thing about advertising is that it helps you consistently evolve and create messages of the times and be current in the market. I think they did a really good job of being consistent. All right, that's pretty much it. If you all like videos like this, don't forget to like and comment under this video and subscribe to my channel. I might do another video on another brand that I like and check out the timeline of the ads, see if it's still consistent of what they started.